live now. But hopefully things go okay. Hi guys, welcome to Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs. Good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening. This might be a bit weird. I do apologise if things seem a bit weird. We're on the laptop, and it's the first time using the laptop, so I've not really, um, excuse me, not really used the laptop for a while, or such forth. So I'm hoping tonight you can hear me. If not, then I'll revert back to my phone as of Thursday. But we're talking all things BTCC 2026. Yes, people may say, Hoppers, we're in 2025, but we're talking about the calendar for 2026. But if you are watching, please do leave me a comment. It may not be how it is, but you know, we're going to see how things go this evening regarding using the laptop. It's, as I say, it's the first time, and I'm hoping people can see me and hear me. If you can't, then I do apologise. I don't know. Good evening, Diffan. How you doing, mate? But yeah, comments are coming thick and fast on here, so good to know the comments. Not too sure why my frame rate is slow at the moment, but I'll just have to persevere. Like I say, I'm hoping to get this up and running better. But if you can tell me that you can see me on screen and hear me on screen, then that's okay. But as I say, we're talking all things BTCC 2026 because we are focusing on the calendar. It is also evening, Daryl. How are you doing? But yeah, you're probably thinking, Hoppers, you've got headphones on. Yeah, well, I haven't got a microphone for the laptop as of yet. But hopefully this looks okay and sounds okay for you guys. If it's a bit jittery, I do apologise, like I say, because we are using the laptop this evening for the first time. It is the first time I've ever used it for Facebook and Facebook Live. But as I say, um, don't worry about it as of yet, because we are going to get used to it because we can see the comments. What am I doing? BTCC 2026 on my calendar. I can hear you well, but picture not great, very slow, but I can see you. Okay, well, what we'll do, we'll just crack on. We'll crack on for tonight because if you can hear me, that's okay. But as I say, I might see if I can change my settings. It's jittery, yeah. I kind of gathered it would be. Could I increase that? See what I can do. Just bear with me then 1 second while I change the. See if I can change the settings. Let's see if that's any better. Just bear with me 1 second because, like I say, I'm still new to um, everything tonight. So bear with me if it goes off. Um, it shouldn't do, um, because I need to get the comments back. Let's have a look. But yeah, if the sound's perfect, then that's fine. I'll try and improve this for next time. It's just, as I say, it's the first time. Hello Lee, how you doing? If sound's perfect, then we'll carry on. I do apologise. Being on the laptop at the moment, and as I say, it's the first time doing it, so anything can happen at the moment. But as long as you guys think it's okay sound wise, then that's fine. We can crack on. But just bear with me. Why? I don't want to be excuse the language, but I don't want to piss people off this evening. But it's great to be that the comments are working, and like you say, it'll be okay. And sound seems to be okay. So that's why I've got the headset on, and like I say, I'll try and improve it by in a couple, maybe in a couple of weeks, or maybe hopefully when we get guests on. As I say, it's good to be on Facebook for a change on the laptop. But if the sound's okay, then that's fine. That's all that matters at the moment. But yeah, we'll go through the 2026 calendar. Hope everyone's had a fabulous weekend. Bear in mind, racing was great at Alton Park from what I've seen, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that needs to catch up as of yet. But we'll go through the 2026 calendar once I get it up and running. But if you can, guys, just leave me a comment. Hope everyone's doing well. It is jittery, I can tell with the camera. But like I say, it's the first time we've ever done this, so I might probably, if I can, at some point, buy myself a webcam. So I can see comments, which is good, compared to the other day, the other week, where it sort of annoyed me. But anyway, it is what it is. But I'm going to be live till 10 past 10 anyway, and you get the hour's worth. Right, where do we start? 2026 calendar. It'd be helpful if I could save it, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Don't want TikTok, because that's not what we're here for. I think I did download it, but then it didn't work. But yeah, if you can leave me a comment, guys. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Daryl. Just bear with me 1 second while I get my phone charger. That's another thing I didn't bring over, was the phone charger. But no, I'm glad things are great. I'm looking forward to the calendar review. Your current threat to, I don't know how to do that, but ow, just dropped my phone. Not a good idea. But yeah, I'm going to get the calendar up and running now. So, but yeah, as long as you can see, well, sort of hear me, and well, you can hear me, but Diffon, I was in bits with it, mate. I was in bits with Steve Ryder's tribute. I was actually crying all the way through it, believe it or not. But yeah, like you say, it won't be the same without him. But we do have a new presenter, hopefully joining, or replacing him, should I say. I'm just going to turn the camera a bit so you guys can see me. But good to see you guys. But can you hit the reactions, guys, if you can? So basically, as you know, the BTCC, I like to launch their calendar way in advance, which personally, I don't really know why they do it or how they tend to do it. And I think obviously it's to get it in early, because then other championships such as British GT, British Superbikes, TCR, club racing, etc., can get their sort of calendars out and obviously push on for what is their seasons. I think personally the BTCC like to get their calendar out for the following year very early. It came out. Did it come out before the opening round, or was it during the opening round? I can't remember top of my head for next year. But next year is of course 2026. As I say, it is a lot of things to take in with the BTCC. for 2026. Obviously, it has its curtain raiser at, of course, Donington Park for rounds 1, 2, and 3 of the championship on the 18th and 19th of April, which is usually the start of the year anyway. It's usually in April, either mid-April or towards the end of April, which personally I think it's a right good move. Obviously having it Donington Park, however, I think personally, in my opinion, I would have swapped it around a bit with Brands Hatch, but then again, not everyone might. Yeah, they do it to get the principal dates ahead of the minor series start booking exactly, and also it gives the support races that take part on the Toka package to know which ones they want to do, or technically what rounds they could do. Because obviously we know British F4 won't be at Croft this year because they go to Zandvoort. So really, it's great that the BTCC are one step ahead of the calendar if we should, persevere as well. But obviously, Donington next year plays the opening round. Obviously, potentially Media Day could be there next year, but like I say, I'd rather it been probably at Brands Hatch start of the year next year, or even Thruxton, But it is what it is, isn't it? With the BTCC being obviously the pinnacle of British motorsport. So then, obviously, after Donington Park, we head to, of course, the first of two visits to Brands Hatch next year. That is on the Indy layout, the first weekend in May next year for rounds 4, 5, and 6. Personally, traditionally, Brands Hatch is normally a May time race meeting, or even a lot of things with what you call it within. You could have it in April for the opening rounds of the championship. However, Brand seems to be the traditional May. So on the support bill at Croft this year is, of course, the Legends, JCWs, and the Porsche Carreras, if I remember rightly, this year. So yeah, again, there's only 3 support races, but obviously the Legends, people are going to look forward to seeing the Legends, especially with their new engine this year that they have. I'm going to obviously try and dive into, because Daryl's given me a very interesting subject for, of course, the live videos going into August about finding things out about the BTCC. So, we're probably going to find out a bit more about why there's so little support races, but, that's a bit of a surprise for you guys. Jan, you pass me my drink, please? Thanks. Sorry, I was just getting my drink. I just feel like me need to hydrate. This is another thing, Diff. I'm going to go on about that very soon. We have, like I say, at Croft this year, we've got Porsche Carreras, JCWs, and of course the Legends. I don't like the idea of 3 support races supporting the British touring cars because, okay, at Croft it seems a bit of a longer weekend, but previously at other meetings it seems it's over and done with in a flash on a Saturday. But then again, that's just my opinion. So obviously at the end of May, which is May Bank Holiday weekend, we are at Snetterton for 7, 8 and 9 of the championship on the 23rd and 24th of May. I'm going to be honest, Daryl and I were talking about this yesterday or over the weekend. Why is it in May? Why is Snetterton in May? I feel like it's neglected its summer slot. Not many people might be aware of this, but I find the BTCC, obviously has summer rounds, obviously, but yes, they had the classic cars at Croft last year, which they could have incorporated having them back for another year, because most people probably enjoyed the older type touring car races, such as of course the Ford Falcons, the Ford Cortinas, and the Mini. I can't remember what else cars were in that race, but there were a few. But obviously we're heading across to Norfolk the end of May next year. And like I say, I think it's kind of neglected its summer slot. I think not many people will understand, or maybe you guys will, but Snetterton used to be in August. Obviously, yes, I get times a year and stuff may suit the circuits and stuff like that. And obviously, like Lee said before, about you know getting it in the before the minor championships, if you will. But personally, I'd rather Snetterton be in the height of the summer because obviously, it'll draw more crowd in. And yes, look at British Superbikes yesterday and the whole weekend. There was a lot of crowd there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, according to what Daryl sent me as photos. So, you know, what replaced? What did Snetterton replace in May? Snetterton used to be in August, but I can't remember what used to be round three. I think round three used to be, if I remember rightly, it used to be, I think, if I remember rightly, it used to be Fruxton. Or, back in the day, I think it might have been Rockingham. I can't remember, it's one of two, I can't remember, but I'll try and find that out and look at previous calendars over the next couple of days, and that could be something I could talk about in my why did the BTCC do this sort of thing as a live video. It's good as I'm going to say now, Daryl, this live video idea you have maybe a 2 hour live video, so it is what it is. But personally, I don't mind Snetterton being in May, sort of, but I'd rather it be, it might have been Fruxton previously, because obviously they had 2 visits at Fruxton in 2019. So they went to Fruxton first of all, then I think they went to Alton Park, and then they went to Croft, and then it was the summer break, and then went to Snetterton afterwards. Then they went to Knockhill, I think, or Fruxton after that, and then pushed on. But like I said, I'll double check the calendars from yesteryears, such as 2019, 2020, and of course, well, I couldn't do 2020 because of the COVID pandemic, but I'll try and double check exactly from previous years and see exactly what coincide with round number 3. That why Snetterton is now round number 3 of the championship. So obviously, at the start of June, we head to Alton Park, which we do need a new circuit. Yeah. Evening, Mark, how are you doing? Yes, Fruxton used to be round 3, right? So you guys know exactly more than not. Well, you do know more than me, but I know quite a bit. But thank you guys, much appreciated. Yes, Lee, we do need a new circuit to spice things up. But as I say, welcome in, guys. If you just joined, I am on Fruxton. Yes, Fruxton was the opening round in 2021, which was held behind closed doors for some bizarre reason. But then again, it did. Yeah, Croft used to be round 4, so Croft over is round 4 or round 5, I think. Oh, but as I say, bear with me. But the 2021 season started a bit late anyway, didn't it? Because of being held, still being in a bit of a national-wide lockdown for starters. But hey, we'll go through exactly what's around. But nevertheless, we are still live on the laptop. I'm not doing too bad, mate. I'm not doing too bad, mate. It's good to see you. I do apologise if the camera quality looks jittery and everything, mate. It's the first time I've used the laptop, but if you can hear me perfectly fine, then it's all good. So yeah, we go to Alton Park the first weekend in June. Obviously, that will then denote the first half of the season, which I'm not going to lie, and I'm definitely not going to bullshit, but I feel a bit, the calendar used to be Brands Hatch, Indy, Donington, Fruxton, Alton Park, Croft, Snetterton, Knockhill, Rockingham before the circuit went, and then Silverstone and finished off at Brands Hatch GP. Yep, that's probably what it is, Stefan. You probably were right there, mate. like I say, I'll double check um, in a couple of days and I'll figure out. Maybe Jig is around to help Knockhill have a good race weekend instead of wet weather. Yeah, you never know, do you? You never know, but um, it is what it is. But Alton Park then on the 6th and 7th of June uh, denotes the first half of the season. I believe four rounds in and around what, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 rounds in, or 12 races in, and you're done for the summer break. And it's all because of the Football World Cup next year. I'm not gonna lie, you know, I don't get me wrong. Yes, I like football, but for me, being a BTCC fan, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth because you know we want good racing, but I suppose there's a lot to take in. But I can't. I'm not Alan Gow. I'm not part of what major sporting events could clash, etc. But it is what it is at the moment. But anyway, so you know, I'm a bit, it's a bit weird that the summer break's going to be right up until the end of July, which then they head to Thruxton. You never know, we might get better weather at Thruxton. Obviously, this year was okay weather, apart from qualifying, of course. But, I feel like someone needs to, maybe, there's a lot of things, but obviously I don't agree why the BTCC should give, should give up to for people that want to watch basically the World Cup. Yes, I may want to watch some of the World Cup, but I'd rather watch the British touring cars. That's just my opinion. Obviously, at the end of July, 25th and 26th of July, will be, of course, Thruxton. Um, oh, let's sort it because of the World Cup. And do do they expect England to do well? I don't know, Mark. I'll be honest. Darrell, do I think 2 rounds at Donington is a good thing, or would I change it up? I'll come to that very shortly, my friend. Just why quickly get So then we go to Thruxton, the fastest circuit in the circuit. Um, they go to the fastest circuit at the end of July, which is going to be very interesting. Diffan, I absolutely what leeches their own. How dare they interfere with our beloved BTCC? True, mate. True. Run Knockhill before the summer break and Croft as the first round, as it saves teams trekking up from Croft and back up to Knockhill 2 or 3 weeks later. Yeah, I completely agree, Lee. I completely agree. I'm just trying to find Darrell's comment to remember what it was. Do I think about Donington? Right, I'll remember that, mate. Just bear with me 1 second while my laptop is making some weird noise. But yeah, so then we head up to Knockhill for the Scottish round in the first proper weekend, I should say, in August, which is 16, 17, and 18 in the Championship. And then we head down the motorway to Donington Park. Going to Darrell's question, do I think having 2 rounds at Donington is a good idea, or would I change it? 50-50, to be honest, mate. Reason why I say it's 50-50 is because, it's the sort of year, I remember a few years back, well, maybe my early days of BTCC, they raced on bank holiday. I think it was bank holiday weekend of August bank holiday, and yeah, okay. But personally, I think it's a great circuit. But having one in at the start of the season and one towards the end, I think personally, it's okay. But it is what it is. With what it is. But I'd rather them. I don't mind Brands Hatch being there twice, but Donington, yeah, it's okay, but it's sort of like maybe sort of thing within the BTCC. Mark, I think they should bring the other Silverstone track, the international section into the calendar. They was going to use it in 2021, however they didn't. To be honest, Mark, I agree. However, I think because of COVID times they didn't. Um, but it would be nice to see that alternative layout. But then, however fast the touring cars are going with the Toka Turbo Boost, never say never is what I'm going to say on that one. But as I say, we then head back up the motorway to, of course, Croft at the first weekend of September. I'm not going to lie, Croft in 2021 was in September, but that will be notoriously probably, you know, a bit maybe damp in September the 5th and 6th. It's the weather turns at that sort of year. It doesn't really necessarily hold a grudge, does it? If you ever been to Croft and the heavens have opened, I've been a few times and the heavens have opened at Croft. It's okay, but there's not really enough coverage at Croft to get to hide. So is what it is. But then obviously at the end of September, personally, I think if the championship season, penultimate round of the championship, I'd love it to be on Silverstone International Circuit and not the National Circuit. There you go, Mark. That is one of my opinions. But they head on the National Circuit of Silverstone at the end of September, the 26th and 27th, for the penultimate rounds of the championship. And then, of course, my birthday weekend in October the 10th and 11th. Obviously, qualifying day is on my birthday. It is the season finale at Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix loop. Personally, Brands Hatch season finale in October normally throws up some surprises, like it's either going to be wet or it's going to be dry and then wet later on. But there you go. Thoughts? Yeah, like you say, Darrell, Croft is a magical place. I'm not going to lie, it is one of my favourite circuits on the BTCC calendar. With a lot of people ongoing, like Diffan has. Let's get you a little tent to put up against the fence, lol. But yeah, Croft's a great circuit. As you know, people are so nice up in the northeast. Yes, it's nice because it's only an hour and a half away from me. But is people didn't like that because the kids are back at school. Like you said, the weather will probably play a part. That's exactly what it is, Diffan. That is exactly what it is. There's been lots of mixed reviews on the BTCC calendar. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Personally, I think the 2026 calendar, bar a few things like the World Cup, for example, has ruined the BTC. Ruined traditionally what the BTCC should be. I get why they've done it, but I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have said, "Oh, we'll have a longer break because of the World Cup." The World Cup could easily be on some other channels. Yeah, Croft's a great circuit to get access to see the cars, whereas Brands Hatch isn't. Don't get me wrong, I love Croft. It's a circuit I like. It's probably, according to my list at the moment, it's one of my most viewed circuits. Well, I've gone and visited. Snetterton's almost on par with it, so it is what it is. But I feel like there's going to be, a lot of people come next season thinking. There's a few people that I know that were planning to go to Croft next year, but due to the change in date, they're possibly thinking whether they're going or not going, which is a big shame, really, because there's a lot of people that try and do all 10 rounds of the BTCC because they've got either passes or they've got better things, but it is what it is. But any other comments? Let me know about the calendar. Let me know what you think. But personally, I think okay, it'll be what it'll be. But I think we could have done with a bit of with a lot of things. It's quite a break now, August until next meet, like 5 or 6. Yeah, it seems a bit of a a very quite a big break, isn't it? Um, you know, don't get me wrong. Just going into, just give me a second. I've got a mate just messaging me. Um, but yeah, I think it's a bit of a big break, isn't it? Between between a few things, but then it's not. You know, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? But hey, it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, Goodwood soon. You know, we've got some good events lined up. We've got the British Grand Prix coming up soon. We've got Goodwood Festival of Speed. So you know, at least 2025's we've got some decent things at the moment. I love Croft, but want to get to Knockhill. Yeah, I need to get to Knockhill. That's on my to do list. But obviously, all depends on a lot of things like the likes of finances and other things. I remember quite a few years ago there was a tennis tournament on, and they cut the coverage up. And after the tennis was over, the coverage came back, so the fans weren't at the circuit. Not at the circuit. They missed the support package races. See, this is the thing. I'm gonna be honest. Look when they put BTCC on ITV, and split it between ITV and ITV4. I hated that reason. I don't understand why Alan Gow would go and have multiple things ongoing. Like split it in between the likes of ITV and ITV4. Obviously, yeah, I get that the hybrid era might have turned people away from the BTCC, but it is what it. But it is what it is. Hey, don't mock Wimbledon in this chat, mate. There's someone in this chat that's going to Wimbledon. Just give me a second. He's replying to someone. But yeah, it's a very like I say, I think given there's a lot of things with the BTCC at the moment. So it's just a mate of mine messaging me about a picture that he got of Dan Rowbottom. How far is Knockhill from me? Good question, Donald. I'll have a look now. Knockhill from me. If I do it, I won't. Well, yeah, I won't do it from where I technically live. I'll do it from Kendal itself. Maybe they should put quality on ITV4 instead of YouTube and push that as a TV package. I'm going to be honest, Mark. It, it would be it would be good if they did, wouldn't it? Don't get me wrong. I think given so it's about 9.5 hours from where Mark lives, wherever Mark lives. I think he lives down in Kent. I can't remember. It's roughly from here, from Kendal to Knockhill. It's about right now. If I left right now, it's 3 hours and 5 minutes. Um, but is that's in a car. Directions. If I wanted to get, like, say for example, I leave Kendal. Let's say I leave Kendal at 8:15 tomorrow morning via train. So I get the bus. I can walk to the train station, or yeah, you're 30 minutes from Brands Hatch. Yeah, I thought you were. So I could get a bus to Oxenholme train station, but then I have to change at Haymarket. yeah, well, that's the thing. People are tend to go in missing. I'll read people's comments in a minute. But then I get to Haymarket, which is obviously in Edinburgh, and then get to Haymarket to Rosyth. Any Scottish people are watching, I do apologise, I'm butchering everything. And then get a bus to Dunfermline, and then somehow get a bus from Dunfermline to Hillview, wherever it is, and then Hillview to Knockhill, up near Knockhill, which then I have to walk a 58-minute, which is near enough an hour walk. But it's about roughly on the train, it's roughly about a 5 hour if I did it on the Friday, and then I had me tent and that, etc. And I was camping. Not really. So I'd highly recommend. I'd rather try and somehow get a lift off a friend, or somehow work around to actually car share with someone up to Knockhill. I don't want to use public transport. However, there is a vlog coming out in the next couple of weeks about about planning to go to Knockhill in 2018, which I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised about. Yeah, that's what I need. I need someone that goes near me that can potentially take me up to Knockhill. Highly surprised there's not a BTCC channel dedicated to all things BTCC past and present. Hey, if they had that on telly, I'd be watching it every day. But yeah, like you say, Mark, I need a mate that can take us up to Knockhill. Obviously, I can ask my dad. Don't get me wrong, I can ask my dad if he ever wanted to go. But you know, there is a lot of things ongoing. But as I say, at the moment, it's very difficult. But you know, I'll be honest. You know, some circuits, like for example, Snetterton, obviously we can do that because we've done it before. As you know, Croft's an hour and a half from us, but it's probably roughly the same sort of thing. Excuse me. Croft's sort of probably sort of similar on the train. I'm obviously going to Newcastle in the next couple of weeks with me and Jen going on holiday, so you never know. I'll see how easy that is to get. No, Mark, I've not talked about it yet, mate. I am doing, that reminds me, I'll check the schedule for when I'm doing Alton Park review. I don't do them straight after a race meeting, mate. I do them in a couple of weeks. Where are we? Where's my photos? Alton Park Alton Park review is probably I've not put Alton Park pre-review yet. I may try and fit Alton Park review in sometime probably the 10th, Thursday the 10th of July. I've not penciled that in yet, but Thursday the 10th of July, before I have a special guest on talk about Rallycross, Lee Keeler. On the Friday, I'll fit Alton Park review in on the 10th of July. We don't talk about them until a couple of weeks later to give everyone a chance. No, mate, it's fine. Yeah, you don't have to apologise about that, mate. About moaning post about races. Well, feel free to explain to me, mate. I'm more than happy to listen to. You know, I'm not gonna cry about it, but well, what do you mean not gonna cry? I'm here to discuss things. So yeah. Those who are around on Thursday this week, we have Chris Hartley. However, given how the picture looks on the laptop at the moment, I may be just live on my phone because I make it a hell of a lot easier. Till I work my way round the laptop side of things. Chris Hartley wasn't put in the schedule because it was kind of sort of planned afterwards. This Friday, if you're around at maybe 8:30 p.m. or even 8 p.m., we've got 6 years of Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs, where we celebrate 6 glorious years, um, which I'm looking forward to. And then Monday next week, this time next week, we have driver ratings from number 1 Jake Hill down to number 32 Dan Rowbottom. So we'll be doing summer break driver ratings, which I'm really looking forward to, but also slightly nervous because obviously with some drivers not in the championship or not been taking part often in the championship, but it should be okay. And then of course the Friday after, it's just I see some moaning about what Ash did in race 1 to that would benefit in race 2, but I think that's been clever, not breaking the rules. Totally agree with you, mate. Totally agree. Ash wasn't breaking the rules at all yesterday, but we'll go on about it we may go on about it. 9.5 for Robo. I'm going to be honest, mate. He's had a very good season so far. To be honest, there's been a few issues, but you know, quality didn't go well on Saturday. But you know, it is what it is. But he's done well. Dan's done all right so far. I've been impressed, especially when I watched him win at Snetterton. And then next Friday, which is the 4th, so a week on Friday, is part 2 of some break ratings from Adam Morgan down to Michael Grease. It's in car driver order, not championship order. It's going to be very hard to pick the ratings, so if you guys can help me on next Monday with the ratings, I'll be highly appreciative. Then 2 weeks today, we have the 1999 BTCC archive live video. However, I may change that and I may just do the Alton Park BTCC review on the Monday. I'll see. Yeah, his track limits have been okay. I'm not gonna lie, you know, Dan's had a decent start to the season. I've been a bit wary about this season, given, you know, I'm going to be brutally honest. I was a bit worried going into the winter break because of his heart surgery. I was thinking, no, is he not going to be coming back this season? Because he's been told by the doctors and the physios to say, you know, especially when he got to fight fit to get back into the groove. You know, was he going to come back or wasn't he? You know, but it's blatantly obvious he wanted to come back, and yeah, he's done all right so far. You know, seeing him win at Snetterton in front of my own eyes and being emotional about it was a highlight. So you know, yeah, 3 Napa drivers in the top 4 in a minute. It is very interesting. The thing is, the problem is, I'm going to say this now, guys, and this is everything going slightly off topic. You know, from what I've seen over probably various years of the BTCC in my 26 years of following the championship, there's going to be people that are going to either love or hate what's going on. I'm going to be honest, you know, it doesn't seem, I don't know how to word it, but for people not to enjoy a lot of things within the BTCC, you know, with such drivers and stuff like that, you know, why can't people just be happy just because their favourite driver isn't doing the best? If Dan wasn't doing the best, I wouldn't be kicking off, you know, or if anyone else wasn't doing the best, I wouldn't be kicking off on social media, because, you know, social media is just toxic for motorsport at all the best of times. Lee, BTCC, what would you like, and what would be a great live, giving the viewers a chance to air what they would like to see, add in, etc. Good question, mate. What would I like to see the BTCC add in and all that, or give like content. Uh, Probably a bit of an insight to probably how they wrap the cars, because it's not just paint. It's they got the shell in a obviously probably one of the main colours, or they've just got it in a box standard white colour or something. I don't know how it works, but probably see them how they wrapped the cars into making them into deliveries for the year, and also give them a chance to see maybe the pit lane walkabout as well, so that they can see what it's like when drivers get to meet the adoring fans. But we'll probably touch on that about in later months about what would we like to see in the BTCC. But anyway, I feel like social media for BTCC drivers is very toxic sometimes. Not gonna lie. So yeah, I'll just quickly go through. It's a lot of vinyl to put on a car. It is, and I'd love to see how much they go through. But yeah, it is a lot of vinyl. It seems a hell of a lot. But then, especially if they change the delivery like the Napa boys do for Knockhill for Race Against Dementia. So fair play, fair play to them. And obviously they changed Ashes to the 100th livery, haven't they, at the moment? So yeah, the 11th of July we have Lee Keeler joining us talking about Rallycross, which I'm looking forward to. He's going to be another guest to potentially wrap up a bit of July. 14th to the 18th of July I am not here. I'm away on holiday, as I said earlier. Monday the 21st of July, second half of the BTCC. Steve Ryder back would be good. It would, but it was a nice tribute and a nice send off for Steve yesterday. I was in bits when I saw the tribute. To be fair, I actually really had tears in my eye yesterday, because I met him at Snetterton this year, and what a legend he was. So 21st of July it is second half of the BTCC. What do we think is going to happen? We'll discuss that. Friday the 25th of July, which is the last live video, we are having our live Q&A session. So we'll be the Q&A comments where you guys can ask me any questions and I'll answer them from the comments. I'm glad they listened and kept Ash's delivery on Ash's car, but it changed for Knockhill. It most likely will do. I remember roughly back in 2014 that Sicily had made a time lapse of them building the Mercedes and putting the livery on the car. I remember seeing that myself, Tiffon. But obviously we'll have to try and find that. Who's Steve's replacement? It is a woman called Nikki Shields from Formula E, I believe. So let's hope she lives up to the plate, and everyone gives her credit for being involved in the BTCC. Like I say, I know she's the pit reporter for Formula E, but I don't know much about her. So but like I say, hopefully we give her credit where it's due, and people don't blast what she's. Evening, Rich. How you doing, mate? But yeah, if you just see the laptop being being a bit jittery with the video, just bear in mind it's the first time I've used the laptop for live videos anyway. But people are saying people can hear me, so I'm quite happy about that. Obviously, you may be aware, or some of you guys may not be aware, I mentioned it on Saturday. But if you weren't here Saturday, I'm possibly tying a very big guest to join the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs theatre of petrol, as I call it. Should have gave it to Paul O'Neill. Well, to be fair, Mark, I'm going to be honest. It would have been nice for Paul, but Paul has a lot on with TCR, etc. So, fair play to him. But I think Nikki Shields will. Yeah, you did mention it probably would be a popular female presenter. I remember you saying, Lee, but I obviously um, didn't ignore the comment. I just at first I thought, but fair play. It is, you know, like I say, we'll give her some really nice credit, and hopefully fans do appreciate. Yes, it's going to take a while to adjust without. Oh, just give me 1 second. Let's try to sort things out there. But yeah, but let's hope we give her some credit, and things go well for her. But as I say, at the moment, I mentioned on Saturday that I possibly have a big guest coming very soon onto the page. Obviously, not everyone has guessed the guest that I'm possibly potentially having on the live video. Um, you know who the former driver is I'm talking about. Who is it then, Diffon? Go on then, tell me. Some people said, is it Dan Rowbottom? Unfortunately, it is not Robo at the moment. However, I would love to have Dan on at some point. He's very busy, and I can't blame him for that. But we do have, hopefully, um, three-time BTCC champion, the first independent to win a race outright, and of course, owner, of the Team Dynamics back in the day. We have, of course, I'm hoping, I'm gonna tell you guys, but I'm hoping to eventually get Matt Neal on the vlog page. He's up for it, but I need to drop him another message. Yeah. What 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 is it? What clues is it? What is clues you give? Hey, I give you a lot of clues, didn't I? But yeah, Diff on it's Motorsport News, isn't it? But no, it's a trap. She's going to hypnotise us to convert us to Formula E and electrics. Well, we could have if we knew it's going to be Nikki Shields, we could have mentioned it. We could have mentioned her the other week when we talked about BTCC going electric. Some people from BTCC watching my live videos and thinking, what the hell? But no, yes, we do. Hopefully, touch wood. Hopefully, Matt does come on eventually. He said he's up for it. He said he'll be an honour. I just need to get hold of him. I dropped him a message on Instagram the other day. He saw it. I'm just waiting for him to reply to me. I might even drop him another message just to remind him tomorrow or in the week prior to going live with Chris Hartley on Thursday, which I'm looking forward to because Chris is a commentator. I think it'll be a great insight to some of you guys and a great insight for me personally as well. But yes, I'm hoping touch wood we get yeah, got a wooden beam behind me. So touch wood we get Matt Neal on the vlog page very soon. I think it'll be a very great insight to Matt's illustrious BTCC career. However, I feel like it's going to be one big live video. Not too sure how long we're getting for, but I'm hoping I can cram a lot in. I need to obviously rack Rich's brains from the hard compound to help me think of ideas. Obviously, I know notoriously talking about Team Dynamics, racing as a champion, and no doubt. The live starts at 8 p.m. on Thursday, Diffon. I've messaged Chris today to see, to just tell him what to do, but I've not heard from him as of yet. He still said when I said it'd be great to have him, he was still up for it. First question: how's your friendship with? Hey, to be fair, I think they actually get on quite well now, don't they? That's one thing I don't really want. Well, to try and find out a bit about the rivalry, about him and Plato, because I think it'd be a great one. I want to find out about obviously when he raced at Bathurst as well. Not only just in like a couple of V8 races, but also going wheel to wheel with Ricard Vidal when obviously they had the Bathurst 1000 Super Touring in '98. And also, I want to find out a lot about Matt's career and such forth. I think it'll be a great live video. To be fair, I think given giving you know a big guest for the first time in Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs history. Everyone's been a big guest that we've had, but Matt's one of the biggest. What's it like working in other garages instead of your own? Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna make some comment, well, some questions for you guys to ask him, or I can include that in my notes as well. So there's a lot to take in, but I'm not gonna lie. I think once I get this live video sorted, I'll obviously get you the date, and I think it'd be fantastic to. Yeah, they do get on very well these days. I remember watching an interview with what's that guy called? Off Plato knows him from Fifth Gear. Johnny Smith, I think. Johnny Smith interviewed them on the late break show on YouTube. Lee, everyone's a big guest, mate. Don't you worry. I'm just telling you. Like I say, everyone's a big guest. It just seems there's a lot to take in. But like I say, everyone's a big guest that's been on here. It doesn't matter anyway. Everyone's a big guest, but you know. But as I say, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a date penciled for Matt. I think it's been a while because I've been planning it for so long in my head that I want the likes of Matt Neal to come on. I think personally, as I say, over time things will get bigger and better. I know for a fact everyone looks at this, um, when they see the page, and people don't realise. Well, I know you lot realise, but not everyone realises the hard blood, sweat, and tears that go into this page. Especially we'll go on about it on Friday when it's the 6-year anniversary. Um, to do this for 6 years, and to think, we had 4 brilliant and big guests on in February, such as Lee, Kales, Rick, and of course Will Butt. I've realised that we've grown somewhat bigger and better into who knows what's to come in the next couple of months. We've had Rich from the hard compound, Rich and Elliot Webber, Time Chris Cuthbert, Sheila, Alex and Harvey Kersley, Mikey Doble, Lewis Kent, to name a few, Amy and Patrick Watts, to name a few guests that have come here. We've had such an awe from different sorts of motorsport spectrum. We have Chris Hartley, who does commentating sometimes at BTCC when it doesn't clash with DTM, because he does the English DTM commentary. I read today that he used to do rowing, he used to be racing open carts, and it's a lot of things. And I think to see what's coming in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months, I think we've hit the jackpot somehow with everyone enjoying what I do anyway. I had a bit of an emotional time over the last couple of months. Like, I'm not gonna lie, with the likes of work and that playing on my mind, and it didn't really help matters, because I thought, what have I done wrong, or what's going on, and you guys have stuck by me, and it's been a blast. I think personally, looking at the last couple of weeks, I can't just thank you guys enough for sticking by me, and to see exactly what yeah, he came a dad on, when did he become a dad? Sometime this week, didn't he? Yeah, Lewis Kent has become a dad for the first time, so Lewis, if you are watching, congratulations, mate. But yeah, we've had a lot of people enjoy our content over the year, over the last couple of weeks and months. As I say, it without you guys watching me week in, week out, we wouldn't be doing what we do now anyway, because it takes time and determination, and yes, I might waffle a bit, and I might scream and shout sometimes, but we get there eventually. And Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs is the place where, like Alan Hyde, Simon Hill, you know, it's all you guys enjoying the content and looking what's going on within the rights of right now. I can sit for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, jumping into a live video situation, but it's not easy half the time when look at when comments went wrong, we had to resort going onto YouTube, and it was just like, why we're doing. No worries, Diffon, mate. I'll catch up with you Thursday, mate. Thank you for tuning in, mate, as per usual, and thank you for being a huge follower of the vlogs as well, mate. That goes for anyone, but for what I do, I'm going to say this is not my job. If anyone is joining us, it's not my job. I do this for fun. I sat back the other day and I thought, would I really want to do this as a job? The answer is probably yes, but then I need to have a lot of determination with it, and I need to really understand, the ins and outs of Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs to become a bigger and better success, which it is, but it takes time and people don't realise the ins and outs with it all after some time. But anyway, enough of me rambling on. It's been an hour, but yeah, I'll catch up with you guys on Thursday with Chris Hartley. I think it should be a great insight to commentating and stuff. We'll have a bit of banter about both being Wolverhampton Wanderers fans as well. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great one. If you're on the hard compound or you're part of the hard compound, go and check Rich's live video on a Wednesday at 9:30. I think, is it 9:30 p.m? He'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday evening with a V8 supercar racer in Todd Hazelwood. Go and check that out. I'll be in the comments hopefully on Wednesday evening if I'm still awake, as I slept in on. Well, didn't sleep in, but overslept on Friday evening when I had a snooze, and that's why I didn't go live on Friday. But yeah, go and check out Rich on the hard compound. He's a very good guy of mine, a good mate of mine, should I say. Excuse me. But yeah, go and check out Rich's content from the hard compound. He's a very good mate of mine. He's helped me out with a few things, especially trying to get a hold of Matt Neal this week. Just telling me, just message him on Instagram, which I have done, but I'm going to message Matt again and try and get this live video interview sorted, because I'd love it to happen. I'd love you guys to, have a really great live video. But I will see you guys Thursday evening at 8 p.m. British Summer Times. If I don't see you Thursday, don't worry, you can have 30 days to catch up, or I'll just put it straight onto YouTube later on after me and Chris Hartley have finished. And then of course I'll see you Friday for the 6-year celebrations of Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs. I think that's going to be a great one as well. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of the week brings for the vlogs. Who knows, we might have even the interview with Matt Neal tied up already for the next couple of weeks. And yes, it has been a great one. I've enjoyed actually being on the laptop for a change. I know the video's a bit jittery, but you guys said you could hear me perfectly, so that's all that matters. But I'll see you guys on Thursday evening for a great chat with Chris Hartley, and if not, I'll see you for the 6-year celebration on Friday. If I don't see you for that, I'll see you for driver ratings on a week today, back at its usual time of 9 p.m. on Monday. If I'm not live on the phone, I'll try and go live on here, and I'll try and sort out the frame rate, etc., and we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Much love and respect to you all. I'll see you on Thursday. Have a good night. Take care. Ta-ra.